Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey kids, welcome to Grumpy Nostalgia, the Second Look Cinema podcast, the show where we go back to the blockbuster new release wall of our memory, grab a copy off the shelf, pop it in the old VCR, and see what time has done to it. I'm Justin, that's Mike.
Happy holidays, Steve.
Yeah, you too. And we're here to help you navigate all the landmines littered down memory lane. And Mike, there'll probably be a little bit more landmines this show, because we're going to break format a little bit.
Go. Okay.
Be prepared.
All right.
So, it's the Christmas season, Mike. You know, it's the season of Yule. And everybody's doing their obligatory, Christmas movie list, and everybody's doing kind of the same format and the same kind of conundrum, where reviewing the same 5 movies that everybody watches. So we wanted to go the other way, Mike. So we're going to take a significantly more grumpy approach for the holidays. As you know, Mike, the holiday season is typically, when Hollywood brings out the big guns. It's usually prestige movies where they get ready for the Oscar nominations in the coming months, or in the case of more recently, like Avatar, when they unload their big special effects laden blockbusters to try to capture some of the holiday traffic for people being out of work and all that kind of stuff. So, and to that point, sometimes they miss the mark, don't they, Mike?
Sometimes, every year doesn't get you a Lord of the Rings, or a
yeah.
You don't get those. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was just for 3 years span there. That's all you get.
Yeah. What you get, Mike, is a big lump of coal, right? And so what me and Mike have decided to do in our typically clever fashion is we're going to introduce you to our holiday special, which we're calling Christmas Turkeys, the Grumpy Nostalgia Holiday Special.
I like the lumps of coal.
Lumps of coal?
We'll call yours.
I should have stuck with that.
Yours can be turkeys. Mine's can be lumps of coal.
Lumps, just big lumps of coal.
I like that.
All right. But the premise here is, guys, we're not going to review a typical movie and do our shtick, but we're going to do a big kind of glorified list show. We're going to be reviewing holiday movies that missed the mark with us, not necessarily box office bombs, but typically movies that were released over the holidays that really kind of brought out, dare I say, the grumpy in both me and Mike. So these lists are in no particular order. They have no meaning other than just our personal feelings about them. But take a listen and see if you agree with us. But we're going to go through our top 5 holiday disappointments, Mike.
I'm ready. I kind of established the same kind of ground rules I think you were describing there, where I went with movies that either were released the week of or the weekend or weekday of Christmas. For my lumps of coal, I tried to pick ones that were from the 90s and one that's in the 2000s, but I tried to just have it in that narrow kind of time that we, is our kind of wheelhouse. And, the movies that I was looking at that were released on Christmas, I don't know if people are bored or experiencing some kind of zombification from eating turkey, but a lot of these movies did really well. And you look at some of the movies in the 90s, you can pick a Christmas day or a couple days before Christmas in some of these, and there's 5, 6, 7 movies that I ended up seeing, and all of them were grossing like these boffo numbers. And they really had some, this was a hard task. Let me shorten it down.
Yeah.
It was hard to find 5 movies, not much less 5 bombs. Like for my list, 4 of mine were what you would call box office successes, if not like, sequel drivers. Only one of the ones I could find was of ones that really bothered me was a bomb. But we'll see what we got. But I guess I'm just setting that ground rule that you're going to hear a couple of these movies. You're going to be like, "Hey, that movie's not that bad." And it is to me. Okay, I'm a grump. All right, I don't like it.
Right. Well, I psychically kind of melded to your ground rules too, Mike. These are movies that probably did better than they deserve to at the box office, probably. But these were a personal affront to the enjoyment of my holiday, and therefore I'm going to take it out on my amateur podcast. So that being said, Mike, I have the home field advantage, so you get to go first. So, Mike, let's kick off our holiday cheer with the first of the holiday turkeys.
Thanks, Steve.
Gobble gobble.
I will go in kind of an order. I'm going to go chronologically. So, other than that, you can lump all 5 of these movies into one, just abhorrent wrapping paper ball and throw it in a toasty fire.
Okay.
My first movie is one of the reasons that nerds of our generation are grumpy. It's a movie called Father of the Bride. Came out in 1991, starring Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. I was dragged to this movie by my girlfriend and future wife, who just loved this movie. I think she got the VHS, she got the DVD, she watched it on whenever it came on cable. I couldn't even tell you how many times. She loves this movie and the second one, and they probably did a third one, but luckily I didn't have to see that one. I got two really naughty words for you, Justin. Hopefully are okay to say on this podcast, but those 2 words would be Touchstone Pictures.
Ooh,
a subsidiary of Disney, and they were the arm of Disney that created these puffy movies that
they're a step above Hallmark.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good way to put it.
One step above Hallmark. Yeah.
And not like a 6 or 7 inch step, but like one of those little 2-inch kind of walk up steps. They were the king of schmaltz kind of movies that always had a pop kind of soundtrack to it that was like, yeah, this is great. And they would always show like a little montage of, they play like Taking Care of Business, and you would see them like, everybody working together. It's like, oh, this is great. But you always had to have a montage scene. You had to have silly situations. You had to have what I would call slapstick situations, and you have to have a couple of goofy side characters that were like just nobody you would ever meet in real life. And
the dad's usually the foil, like he's always goofing. He can't do anything right.
Oh yeah. I cannot stand that kind of movie. Although I will say, I did see the original, and this is one of the things that bothers me about this movie was this movie was made in the 50s for a what I would call it's probably the same audience that saw it in 91, but it had Elizabeth Taylor and Spencer Tracy in it, and it's one of those movies. It's why did you make it? I mean, it's kind of remade with 90s sensibilities in a way, but it's pretty much the same beats, the same characterizations of the people and the main actors and actresses, whatever. But it's to me, it's the axiom of why a remake of a classic good movie should just be that. You should just kept it the way it was. And
Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor like hallowed ground. Like why? I don't know.
And I mean, like I said, you got to say, if they copied it, they did really well at it for people that never even knew about that movie because it was exactly the same. And like I said, this is what makes us kind of grumpy. This is one of the first movies I can remember that really took a classic and just said, "Let's do this, let's do that. Oh, hey, they did that in that movie. Let's do this." And it. Except for like the Martin Short over the top wedding planner and BD Wong, I have a bone with you, man. I swear. You're okay in Jurassic Park, all right? In the first one, at least.
evil Jurassic Park doctor.
But here he's a over the top Gasian, and it's almost off putting. And he's my second favorite Asian character actor behind James Hong. It bothered me. And Martin Short, I personally, okay, a lot of people like Jiminy Glick and his appearances on like SCTV and whatnot, but no, he doesn't.
Doesn't ring your holiday bell.
Yes, he wears very thin with me. And this movie, if you don't like Martin Short, I mean, Steve Martin does it. He's plays the perfect, charming character. I can't. I got to admit that. And this is why the movie did so well. This was a really well-received movie. But like I said, you're probably thinking right now, what? This movie's great, especially if you have a daughter and she's getting married. This is fantastic. Yeah. He has to let go. It's a great message, and it is, okay? But it's so
just not for
saccharine.
us.
It's so saccharine sweet and just non-offensive in every way that it's just cotton candy. I
Okay.
can't.
All right.
That's the main reason could not
All right.
take it.
All right. Well, we're off to a good start, Mike. Thank you. That's kind of a body blow. You work the body first before you go for the
Yeah,
knockout.
there's
Thank
my
you.
first. There's a first shot. That's a
All right. Good
warning
one.
shot.
All right. Well, my first one, I kind of extended my range for the holidays to include like Thanksgiving, and this one was more around a Christmas release, and this was a not a giant disappointment, but it just let me down, and this one hurts again too for me. It's King Kong, the remake, the
Oh yes.
2005 by Peter Jackson, right? So how could you go wrong? He's coming off the Lord of the Rings. He's great filmmaker. His passion project his entire life as a filmmaker was King Kong. How could it go wrong? Right? And I was I grew up with King Kong on the monster movie weekends, and I just love that King Kong. It's a great story. So I plopped down my $10. So excited to see this, and I remember leaving the theater just completely underwhelmed, Mike. And there's a few reasons. One is Jack Black,
Yeah.
who's one of my least
Terrible
favorite
casting.
actors of all time.
Just...
And we'll get to more of him later. For some reason, he wore a wig during the whole movie because they didn't like the way they did his haircut. Like it matters. Yeah. So you got Jack Black, Mike. Who,
And he's
not
kind
the
of
most-
he's the villainy character, right? He's the guy who
yeah.
wants to take Kong to New York.
He plays Carl Denham, and
Okay.
the character in the original 1933 is the square-jawed, great. I mean, I don't know. Jack Black he doesn't have a nuanced bone in his body, right? Everything is. But yeah, so that bothered me. There's a couple other things that bothered me. I love long movies, Mike. Don't get me wrong. I don't care how movies length. I don't care about that,
Right.
But this one was 3 hours and 7 minutes, which is not terrible by epic standards. It's a big story.
But you feel it. You feel that.
You feel all of them, right?
Right. If it's not a director's cut of, say, Return of the King, that goes by like in an hour in my mind. But watching a 3-hour bad movie is 6 hours.
Yeah. So what made that 3 hours and 7 minutes even longer is that you don't see King Kong until 1 hour and 11 minutes, Mike. They spend 40 minutes of the first movie just on a ship.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Getting to Skull Island, right? So I mean, it was a big movie. It was successful, and there's a lot of great cinematography, and the special effects for the most part are good.
Right.
This made $218 million, so it was they could care less if I liked it or not. But the entire first act and most of the second are just, will you just get on with it, right? I think one of the takeaways is the CGI was by What a Workshop that did all the amazing work in Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. But if you remember the dinosaur stampede in this, about middle of the way through the set piece,
yeah,
where
I do.
all the shipmates are running around this cliff with the velociraptors and brachiosaurs, and they're falling off cliffs. And some of the CGI there was
pretty
for what it was just very poorly done. But conversely, you had King Kong fighting 3 T-Rexes. That scene's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there's an emotional part to King Kong. Everybody cries when King Kong dies. You still feel bad when he falls. His cinema legend is that he kills himself to save the girl. But this one was just kind of a letdown. I saw it in the theater, and I purchased it on Blu-ray when it came out, and I don't think I've watched it since. I just never had the ambition to watch it. That's really kind of my benchmark whether I like a movie or not, is I kind of go back to it. But I've never had the urge to go back to this. So that's my first one, Mike. King Kong from 2005.
Excellent. Yeah, I have to agree about the length of that, and just being kind of disappointed is a good word for it.
Yeah.
And it's just the I don't know. It was hard to get over Jack Black being in it. Just just lost all credit.
It took me right out of it
as a pseudo villain in that. It just was like, that was tough. And I don't know if even Brody could have carried it anyway. As a dashing lead. All right, am I ready? You ready for my second one here?
Bring the pain, baby. Bring the pain.
Because this movie epitomizes number 2. This next one I have is Beethoven's Second.
Oh.
Bad movie, bad movie pun title. It it makes me sad to go to Google search and type in Beethoven, and then this is one of the top 2 or 3 searches of above a lot of Ludwig van Beethoven and such, and this comes up. Again, I thought this was a touchstone movie just by the whole theme of it with the put upon dad and the music and
so Charles Grodin, right?
It is Charles Grodin, and it's a Universal Pictures movie, and not a touchstone movie.
Charles Grodin is one of the most underrated comic performers of all time.
Yeah,
he's always great, but very specific kind of taste to his comedy, I guess.
Right, and like
special appreciation.
Like Steve Martin, Father of the Bride, he's well cast as the dad in this movie, also, and I mean he's the one just little glimmer of hope you have when watching this, and even he can, he can only mug the camera so much in a movie like this. The Beethoven, the original movie was about a Saint Bernard that was a puppy that somehow fell into the lap of this suburban family, and his antics kind of win them over, and especially the kids. Oh, can we have it? Of course, Beethoven gets in all kinds of shenanigans, and eventually the dad agrees to keep him. Yeah. So,
does he slobber or anything? Does anybody get wet?
Yeah. They have the famous iconic scene where he just finished taking a bath and he runs to the den, and they're like, "Oh, don't shake, Beethoven, don't shake." And of course, what does he do? But that movie did, again, box office numbers, and what do you expect in 1990? You're gonna get a sequel a couple years later, and that's what we get is this piece of crap.
Well, there were so many. I had so many unanswered questions from Beethoven.
Right, I know, right? Yeah. Was he
this
really
didn't solve any of it?
Was he really going to live happily ever after? I don't know. I needed a sequel. But this plot of this movie, if I call it that, is Beethoven is spreading his seed, basically, to another girl, Saint Bernard. And they are going to have puppies. And it just so happens that the girl, Saint Bernard, is owned by this bad lady, played by Debbie Mazar, who, God rest her soul, I think she died early this year. So, and she was in, what was the Goodfellas? So
yeah, she's
sad to see her go, but I don't know if she felt good about this movie. But
did she die?
Yeah, she died earlier this year. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I forgot.
I'll check it out. I was surprised when it happened, but it was, I think, in the summer. But her and Chris Penn, Sean Penn's younger brother, who's I think also passed away.
He died, right? Yeah.
Yep. Are baddies who try to steal the Saint Bernard puppies. And that's most of your movie plot is, how are they they got to catch the baddies before they sell the puppies on the black market. And, there's a lot of shenanigans, Justin. I think there's a hot dog eating contest involving Charles Grodin. And from what I remember of this movie, which, again, I was dragged to see this movie because my wife loves cute dog movies. And there's a weird scene I remember where the teenage daughter is at a party she shouldn't be at drinking alcohol. And Beethoven is there to break up the party by just knocking over things. So really weird scene. I think she even breaks up a possible, a bad possible assault on the teenage girl, which was really weird at the time, but you might want to look that one up, kids. That was a little factoid on that one, but it's a movie that exists just for the sequel, and it made a lot of money again. And
and we
the kids had to go
about those kinds of movies. Yeah,
the kids had to go somewhere between Christmas and New Year's, and apparently it was to the theaters in 1993 to watch this thing.
And that's right in the sweet spot. I probably had to clean up their little messes in the theater. That's right. I was. So, Mike, I did a little research as you were talking, and I'm happy to announce that Debbie Mazar is alive and well.
Oh, okay, good. I was wrong. There was a comedian. It's going to bother me. Julie Tenuta. That's who I got confused with. Ever since people gonna look at this, they're gonna look at their headphones right now and go, "What the hell is he talking about?" Yeah, Judy Tenuta and Debbie Mazar for me are like
they look alike. Yeah,
they look alike, and I got confused on the two. So there we go. Sorry about that. My bad.
No. I saved a life today. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. That's a terrible one. So well done.
All right.
My second one is kind of on the same under the same context as my first movie, and this was Mars Attacks.
Oh, I almost. Oh, this was in my
Yeah.
honorable mention category for sure.
Yeah. So again, another Tim Burton movie that let me down. Usually he's on the mark with me, but his reimagining, sorry, Mike, reimagining of Planet of the Apes is one of my worst cinema experiences of all time.
Oh,
This one wasn't too far behind Mars Attacks. I think it was 1997, Mike. I'm not sure. I didn't look this one up.
no.
Starring Jack Black. Are you seeing a trend here? What, Mike? It had Jack Black and Joe Baker.
It had a ginormous cast, man. I remember just.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
It's too many actors trying too hard to be funny,
Yeah.
trying to capture that '50s Cold War theme that just doesn't seem to work very well. Again, this made $101 million, so it was by no means a failure.
It is.
But I remember.
It is. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it is one of the most cynical movies I've ever seen. You know, you talk about it being like a satire of the '50s kind of alien invasion movies, but my goodness, you talk about just sticking it in your face and saying, you know, this. You know, it was just so pessimistic. It was. That was one of the reasons I hated it, but that was just me.
It was for a movie that was about silly, comical, Martians that really lacked a lot of whimsy and humor.
Right.
It was. Yeah, I just did not. I didn't like it. The Slim Whitman music at the end. That should have been funny. But it wasn't. Had Natalie Portman in it before she became Star Wars, Mike.
Wow.
And it had Jack Nicholson in it, playing a unnecessary dual role as a general.
I remember Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker being like heads attached to little insect bodies,
heads, right? Yeah.
It's like, oh my!
I think their heads got put on a chihuahua or something like that, and that CGI was really horrible. But yeah, I just walked out of that theater thinking, no, you wanted to like it. It had everything in there that you probably should have liked it, but you didn't. That's the best way I can think about that movie. So I think a much better portrayal of the 50s was Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton. That's just a fantastic movie that no one talks about. But I mean, I think that's a cinematic masterpiece with Johnny Depp and Martin Landau. And I think that's just a fantastic movie, shot in black and white. That probably turned a lot of people off, but that's a much better way to watch Tim Burton movies. But yeah, Mars Attacks. It stinks. There, that's my second one, Mike.
That's a good one. Like I said, that I was on the fringes of picking that one just because it was offensive to me in so many levels. But again, it's another movie that you could find lots of people online and just at the time saying how good it was. I think it was like one of Howard Stern's favorite movies. I remember him talking about it at the time. Him, and it was like, really?
I mean, I get people that like it. This is our list. If you disagree with us, folks at home, get your own podcast.
Don't.
This is ours.
Just don't do movies from the 80s and 90s if you don't mind.
Yeah, just do
your own.
Join us.
Yeah, come on. All right. Well, I've got to my third one here, and it's a stinkeroonie.
Okay.
This is probably on a lot of people. This is the one bomb out of my five that most people would agree at the time, and most people now. This is The Postman from 1997. It's it's called a Kevin. It's called a Kevin Costner vehicle. He was the writer, the director, the star, the Jesus figure, if you will, the whole production.
Right.
It is one of those 3-hour movies that we were just talking about, King Kong, that this 3-hour movie was no need for this to even be close to that. It so many slow-mo shots, so many just scenes of nature and just like dramatic, everybody, it's Kevin Costner in the movie is the title character, the postman, and he's a nomad, shocker. He just finished doing this. He just finished doing this in Waterworld, and you think he would have learned from his mistakes. But anyway, he's a nomad, and he appears in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's you're led to believe that there's been a global catastrophe, maybe a war of some sort, and he's the nomad who comes in and picks up a U.S. Postal Service man's uniform and uses it and wears it and goes to various towns and tells people, that not really not in a direct manner, but people assume that, wow, he's with the Postal Service. That means the government is still intact. So he gives people hope that the U.S. government is still a thing and we can come together and fight off the bad guy who's played by Will Patton, who not the most menacing bad guy in the world, but he's kind of a
what I like about his character is I think that character in the old world he sold copiers, right?
I think that was right. I haven't
and
seen.
He looked like
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's playing like this, this rogue military, almost like a paramilitary.
Yeah, he had like all this paramilitary training, but in a previous life he sold copiers.
That's right. Yeah, he's like a weekend warrior turned general. But Justin, the reason I did this for you, sir. The reason this movie is on this list is because one of them, he has a pretty major part in the movie, is Tom Petty.
Yeah,
and you know how I feel about rock stars.
They couldn't get Jimmy. They couldn't get Jimmy Buffett.
Well, they didn't have any planes to fly in this one, and Jimmy Buffett can't ride a horse apparently. But yeah, Tom Petty, he's in this, and he's kind of like it's kind of like Willie Nelson and Barbarossa. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
Gary Busey movie.
This movie's got as much energy as Tom Petty's voice.
Exactly, a good way to put it. Thank you.
Yeah,
there's no heartbreakers in it too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
But the main reason, of course, Tom Petty is part of the reason, but the main reason this movie stinks for me is that it's another one of those Kevin Costner movies where he's kind of a fish out of water character, shows up and touches everybody's lives, and he's this messianic figure. And even this movie has almost plays him out to be this just almost character that has to be worshipped in a way, and it's way too long. You look at reviews from the time, and it's got like 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's horrible. But what was weird to me, and I happened to be looking at reviews from users from the past few months, and all the reviews were like 4 or 5 stars, and just saying how they can't believe that people at the time didn't like this movie. It's underrated. It's great. And it's like, really? And
it's a revisionist history movie. People go back to it and they say, "Well, this wasn't as bad as I remember." So by that default, that doesn't mean it's good. It just means you set the bar really, really low.
Yeah, and it got me to thinking. We haven't done any movies on our podcast yet that I have felt that way about. Like most of the movies we watch are, hey, that was good. I liked it this time too. It was good. Or not quite as good. It was okay, but we haven't. Maybe we need to pick a movie like this, but we haven't picked a movie where it was so bad that when we rewatch, we're like, "Wow, are these people just dumb? I mean, are we smarter than most people?"
I think it's that. I think it's more that.
I feel
we haven't done the 180 yet, but I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I'm sure.
It's when it happens, it's going to happen. And
and
it's going to be one of those movies where we swore we would never do. And then we're going to go back and say, okay, let's do it because we're going to run out of content. And
this isn't bad.
That's what's going to happen.
I could see that. We're doing a real kind of almost the opposite of a heel turn on it. You're like,
but until then, Kevin, we're not watching any of your crappy movies.
No, I mean, to think he made this, before this, he had Waterworld, and then what we just talked about earlier, Wyatt Earp. Both movies that are too long. Makes Wyatt Earp holier than thou. He makes his little Mariner Gilman, character in Waterworld, the hero, and almost too good, too shoes. Yeah. And the Postman, like I said, is the way he's treating this movie is just, it's hard to watch. It really is. And make more of Dances with Wolves, but don't remake it 3 times and make it even more amped up on the messianic kind of stuff. Just enough.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Stinkburger.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Mike. We're beginning our ascent to those levels of hell, aren't we?
We are. We got, like I said, that I think it lost about $100 million at the box office at the time. So this was the one stinkeroo in the lump of coals I had.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep that stinkeroo theme going. My next pick is the epic from 1992 from Francis Ford Coppola. We're talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Uh,
Mike. So there's been a lot said about this movie, and again, this is the conflict I felt. This was the hardest show to write for me personally because it was. I thought it'd be a nice, easy little throwaway list show, but it was very hard to extract anything, and this was one of them. I
yeah,
like this on a camp level, and
right.
that's the only thing it really succeeds because they took some liberties with the story from Bram Stoker's novel, and they got creative with the casting for sure.
Quick.
But let me
It's going to go
go.
back to. I don't mean to interrupt you. I was going
Yeah,
to go back to what you were saying about like it's hard to pick these movies. Is it because a lot of the good? I mean, I'm putting good in quotes. But is it
yeah,
all like a lot of crowd pleaser and good movies are released around Christmas, and then a lot of the
yeah.
stinkbird like if we were doing the same list for movies, say culled from the January or early February, would we be a lot better off and find a lot more movies? We're like, oh yeah, this is an easy one, or is it because these movies are Oscar baity kind of crowd pleasing movies that we couldn't pick
Yeah,
them?
it's a combination of that. I always get more disappointed. You have bombs all across the year, right?
Right,
But
right,
the summer bomb, it's
yeah,
fine because
uh,
there's so much around you that you can you know hike up your bootstrap and keep going because the next weekend there's seven more movies just like it. They kind of get lost in the shuffle.
true,
But there's something about the holiday season where I don't know. Maybe you have a different mindset during the holidays. You're more sentimental. You're whatever. You're really enjoying yourself during the holiday, and seeing a holiday movie has some sort of cachet to it sometimes.
yeah,
So when they're bad during the holidays, it's like, man, I took time off. I got time off work to see this.
right, yeah, that makes
You
sense.
know. So
So
and
is a natural goodwill already built in when you're watching
yeah.
this movie that you're working from?
Well, and the other part of it, since we started our dumb little show about almost a year ago, Mike, can you believe that?
Oh my goodness!
We've always preached that we want to treat these movies, good or bad, with the reverence they deserve, right? So, I
True.
mean, the great thing about movies is they don't have to appeal to everybody. You know, there's millions of people that love Congo. So I mean, but and what's great about them is they mean different things to different people, and there's
Right.
no such thing as a bad movie. It's just movies you don't like personally, right? So
Yeah.
even the worst movies I try to appreciate because it's hard to be creative and it's hard to
Yeah. True.
and it like I was reading reviews for Avatar coming out, the second one, and it's got like 79 positive reviews, and I of course like everybody else you only read the negative reviews right from the Metacritics, and
Right.
what I love about critics because the internet plays the biggest role in this, of course everybody's an expert including us, right? But what people
Of course.
choose to be offended by or dislike and the reasons they choose that are so nominal and so
Yeah.
minimal now. Like, okay, a 3 hour special extravaganza with groundbreaking visuals and a good story isn't good enough for people anymore. you know, I read this scathing
True.
review by I'm sorry, I won't go generational here, but it was a millennial writing a review of this movie saying how it misses the mark and it's just, it's Pocahontas story. But
Right.
I guarantee you this idiot loved the last 17 Marvel movies, which were exactly the same plot, exactly the same visual, you know, all style, no substance. But I guarantee you they love that, right? But anyway, let's get back to
Of course.
let's get back to Keanu.
you,
So the Cool
let's
Breeze
see.
on the Mountain
Back to the
was cast
cast
in
of
this
Bram
movie, right?
Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah. So
Yes.
the casting was questionable. Gary Oldman is fantastic, but he kind of went
Yeah.
he kind of went past that line, right? But that's the only thing really people remember this. He lowered his voice a few octaves to play Dracula, and he was great. Hammed it up, but Winona Ryder and we said Cool Breeze on the Mountain uh, as
Yeah.
the two main leads.
Hopkins is the Van Helsing is awesome. I gotta
That was
say I
yeah
loved him and
yeah he he was as subtle as Divine in this role, in this role. But they ate up the
the
scenery.
accent.
But
The accent was
yeah, and
fantastic.
Mike, there's some connection to the show, of course, with Keanu, and Carrie Elways was in this movie too. Mike is one of the
That's right. Oh my gosh.
three extra
Yes. The
characters there to be
companions.
killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carry
But
on.
but it's just kind of misguided. I couldn't really decide what I wanted to be. The love story was really shoehorned in. I thought it wasted a lot of time with that. I didn't appreciate that, and it kind of lost all the real dread and despair from the novel. Anybody's ever read the novel, it's a quick read. You can read the novel in an hour, um, but it just doesn't really capture. They kind of convert all the Dracula's despair to this like lost love in this one, which I just never agreed with. And Winona Ryder was way too young in this movie anyway. But my favorite scene in this is Tom Waits plays Renfield because Tom
No,
Waits is
not Tom.
awesome, right? But you remember he bites the sanitarium doctor played by Richard Grant. He bites him in the neck in one of the scenes. He bites him on the left side of his neck,
Oh
and as
no.
the scene cuts away, Richard Grant grabs the right side of his neck in pain. It's like they couldn't even get the continuity right. If Tom Waits bit me, I'd remember where I got bit, but
You growl at
but
you. Like that.
I've read articles from Keanu Reeves saying how much he hates this movie and how much
Oh wow.
he didn't want to be. He hated his performance in the movie. I wish he could just erase it from cinema history. And even Coppola regretted casting him, but he said he needed a mainstream heartthrob to get that
Yeah.
portion of the audience. And
There
again,
you go.
when you start making concessions like that and you sacrifice the art, I hate to get pretentious, but I will. When you sacrifice the art in the context of the story for box office appeal, you deserve what you get. And
Another Hollywood pretty boy.
I walked out of the trailer. When you watched this trailer back in the day, you thought, "Oh man, this is going to be so great." When you walked out of it, you're like, "Ugh, really?"
Yeah.
Let's let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. Let's do something fun. Sorry, but there you go. So that's my third pick, Mike.
Awesome. All right. Number 4. I have the movie that came out the next year that in 1998 that was just as pretentious as The Postman, but was loved by the critics, and it was called Thin Red Line. Um, for me, I remember reading about this in Entertainment Weekly and being really excited. When you see the cast is going to be Nick Nolte, Sean Penn, Jim Caviezel, Adrian Brody, John Cusack, Woody Harrelson, John C. Reilly, John Travolta, Jared Leto, and Thomas Jane, you think, my God, this is going to be the greatest war movie of all time. And this is coming off of seeing Saving Private Ryan. And
Yeah.
Thin Red Line is set in the Pacific Theater of World War II. And you're thinking, oh, this is going. How can this miss? Well, you could pick a director that was known for being, let's say, slow, deliberate, likes visually stunning artwork,
Yeah.
and have him be the director of your war movie with these actors. And that's what you get. You get a 3-hour movie, which, this movie, it feels 3 hours. That is a total disappointment for me. Terrence Malick
Yeah.
was a director of this movie, and he's not a well-known director, but he's the only ones you'll know him from is probably Days of Heaven, which came out in the 70s, late 70s. I think it had Richard Gere in it, and A Tree of Life, which had Brad Pitt in it. Both of these movies are kind of historical dramas that are really long, but really loved. Total opposite of The Postman, but loved by the critics. And because it's visually stunning. It tells you how war can drag down everyone, including the nature and the world around it. So what you end up getting is a lot of scenes of ants eating leaves or rainstorms, voiceovers of the soldiers. Instead of like a lot of the soldiers actually fighting each other, you get a few battle scenes. I'll give them that. Most of these actors,
but when James Cameron does that, he's a hack. So.
Let it go, Justin.
Sorry.
But you end up with actors with little screen time. John Travolta's on the screen for maybe 2 minutes. And
oh, that's right.
John Cusack's in there for maybe 5. Adrian Brody, who later wins an Oscar, had all his lines cut out of the movie for some reason, and you see him in the movie, but he never says anything. So it's kind of weird. But like I said, the critics loved it. I hated it. Was very disappointed it wasn't Saving Private Ryan in the Pacific.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you read about a movie like this and you hear how great the book is about it, this was based on stories that were done by a guy who was there in Guadalcanal in the Pacific in 1942. His experiences, it could have been really well done, but when you add in overstuffed, murky characterizations and photography, that's so unnecessary. And this, and again, 3 hours, please, enough.
Yep.
One word: disappointed.
I just found it. I'm with you, Mike. I was really excited to see that. I was really into the World War II era stuff around that time, and I just found it extremely pretentious. It was like art school stuff, and
that's why the critics loved it. I mean, you look back,
I guess that's what,
you see the reviews, and there's very few critics that were like, "Wow, this movie was really over the top and pompous." You don't see that.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked because that's the first thing I thought after I watched it was like, what the hell? This war is war. You think about how Spielberg, did his movie, and it's like, why couldn't it have been that? Why? I'm sure the executive producers and whatnot in the studio was like, you could have made so much more out of this material.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
All right. Well, that's a good one, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
My next one, I'm going to spit on you now. Just a little spittle.
A little spittle.
Called Dune from 1984. Directed by David Lynch, but he won't admit to it. So it's directed by Alan Smithy, Mike. David Lynch took his name off this movie.
Oh, boy.
Because he didn't get final editor or
producer
credit.
Big baby.
He didn't get final cut.
It's not weird enough.
This is one of the only movies that David Lynch has ever made that finished in the top 5 in the box office in its review. And the only one that ever made money, oddly enough, on its opening weekend. But this came out in 1984, and I remember I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade when this came out. I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking this was going to be a cool filler for. I think it was going to fill the void for Star Wars, right? And so it had really creative casting. It had really great set design, and some of the artwork in here is really cool because of the size and scope of the story. The producers, try to cut, Dune down to 2 hours, which is, there's, as the most recent movie shows, there's like 6 hours worth of content just in the first novel, so you can't take all that out. So the end result is you get a lot of weird narration in the movie. The actors kind of talk you through most of the story, which it's really kind of a PowerPoint presentation for like the first 20 minutes, just a bunch of still images kind of telling the whole backstory. David Lynch turned down Return of the Jedi to make this, by the way, Mike, which I thought was an interesting choice. But you did have a Sting.
It's like who would pick David Lynch? That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, but you did have a Sting in here.
Yes. Was he better than Tom Petty? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but not as good as Jimmy Buffett. Let's be honest. Yeah. But this movie cost $42 million and it only earned $31 million. But so this is the first real bomb that I picked. But I think the Toto soundtrack doesn't help anything either. That is really horrible. The special effects are pretty bad, even for the time. You had crazy Sean Young in there. Who this is Kyle MacLachlan's first movie. For sci-fi nerds like me, I mean, I wasn't disappointed by it, but it wasn't great, and it could have. It could have been so much better at the time. And again, that's kind of my benchmark for how these got on the list. It is pretty much a cult classic to this day. People, if you've never seen the 1984 Dune, you got some time to kill and a strong stomach, you might want to give it a try because there's some interesting visuals and some interesting characterization of some of the main characters. But this one never really
sandworms.
A lot of the schedule had to be. The impact on the story was felt by the location. They shot in Mexico where everybody got diarrhea, and a lot of critical scenes couldn't be shot because, in a cost-saving measure, they shot in Mexico, and a lot of critical scenes get shot because people were they were dehydrated in the emergency.
Were they using they use the same set as Total Recall?
Let's
That'd
hope,
be interesting.
Right?
that concrete structures. It seems like the same kind of stuff.
But again, there is a weird effect to it. So there's a cult status following around it. So it is kind of cool to check it out every now and then. There's an extended version that's a little bit better. That I think Lynch didn't still put his name to it to this day. But this was my next one, Mike. That was Dune from 1984.
Beautiful, good choice. What did you think of the one that came out this last year, the latest one, the Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya?
I was hyped. I reread the book before I saw it. I read the book 3 or 4 times, and I was really kind of psyched to see it. I think I was relatively happy with it. I thought all the Zendaya stuff was boring and not needed, and she's not even I think that was just kind of a hitch her wagon to get that demographic.
She's the
theater
girl. She's the girl that's the key to everything.
Exactly, but she's not really. But she is Zendaya, or Zendaya, I don't know. But it would have pulled in a significant part of the audience. I get it. But I thought it was really well done. I'm excited to see the second one. I kind of don't like how they ended. They could have had 2 story arcs in the first part of the novel. They chose not to do it, so it just kind of ended.
Right,
really
did
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see the next one. There's a whole lot of story left. I mean,
what
you see in that first movie even in 3 hours is maybe like 1/3 of the chapters of the first book. So there's a whole lot more story to tell there.
They got a bit of ways to go. Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking at it as part of the whole, not individually. So
yeah, that's good.
I'm hoping for good things.
Cool. All right, my last one, and last but not least, because I think this movie of my 5 affected me the most as far as just being profoundly disappointed. Justin, I like the occasional movie musical. I like West Side Story. I liked Oklahoma. I really liked Chicago. That was really good. Even Richard Gere warbling and John C. Reilly kind of didn't take away from it. It was still good. But a movie that came out in 2004 around Christmas time called Phantom of the Opera came out, and boy, howdy, I was excited to see this. I love the musical. It was one of the it was one of the first CDs I got. And I was listening over and over and over again. You had just the original cast doing it, and I was excited. I was all ready. This was one of those movies where you go into it and you purposely don't look at reviews. You don't read anything about it. It's family opera. How can they mess this up? You have the story. You have the soundtrack. Well, you mess it up by picking some... And then, and then you pick your director, Joel Schumacher.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, the least said about him, the better. Then you pick your lead.
Did he put nipples on the
on the
costume?
Put little pock marks on the Phantom's mask. You pick Gerard Butler as your Phantom. The hammy, very stiff Gerard Butler as your Phantom. And then, yes, but should he really be your Phantom prancing around and doing magic and whatever he has to do to seduce?
No, he should be kicking Persians off cliffs. That's what he should
That's
be
right.
doing.
This is madness. Why would you pick this guy? And then you have Patrick Wilson, who was Raoul for this movie. And by the way, I assume everybody knows Family Opera is kind of the story of Phantom. I think it was in a movie in the 1920s from long ago. It was originally a book, but it was a Lon Chaney movie where the Phantom is kind of more of like a gargoyle-ish figure, where it's really hideous when he takes his mask off, and he's genuinely scary. But much later, in Andrew Lloyd Webber's hands, the Phantom becomes more of like a really handsome, dashing man who sings and maybe has a slight deformity on one side of his face, as opposed to being just a hideous demon. Of course, he's treated as a hideous demon by most everybody, but you're like, come on, this is Gerard Butler here, and Raoul, who is our hero that saves our damsel in distress from the Phantom, is played by Patrick Wilson, who in this movie is a plank of wood. He's a pretty good singer, but bad.
On behalf of the wood, I resent that.
Just unappealing, undynamic. Emmy
Yeah,
Rossum, who's I think was really young at the time this movie, was the Christine Daae character, who was our singer, and
yeah,
she was actually almost made this movie passable for me.
yeah. She's
But yeah,
she's
she. I was really impressed. I mean, she impressed a lot of people once they saw this. But
yeah, she got a great voice. She's actually a singer by trade too.
okay,
So
that makes sense because the other two not by trade,
not so
um,
much. Yeah,
not so much. I, it was slickly filmed and produced. You know, because it was had Schumacher behind it. Set pieces were amazing, visuals were outstanding, costumes. But that's what I didn't like about it. It was the musical. You're there for the music, and you see all these unnecessary visuals and just. I'm not going to call them special effects,
yeah,
but just a lot of just eye popping set designs that are kind of distracts, whatever you want
yeah.
to say. And it's not what brings somebody like me to see the musical on screen. You want to see the, you want to see him kind of get outside that box of a theater,
You want
but
to see the adaptation of it, the arrangement of it, and how what they
right.
do with it in the
Yeah. I
source
mean,
material, right?
there are things you can do with the moving, picture that can allow you
Yeah,
to at least expand outside the edges of the stage and go outside the
right.
pit. But this went a little too far with the stage setting and just the over dramatization of it.
Yeah,
Like I said, when you have leads that can't sing the songs the way you think of them when you hear them or saw them originally,
yeah.
it
That's
hurts.
important,
It is.
especially for iconic songs from Broadway. You can't just put anybody in there.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe.
um, no, don't
Sorry,
do it.
we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So that's the next list. But anyway,
all
yeah,
right,
it's like I say, two words for you: Touchstone Pictures and Joel Schumacher. There
all
you go.
right. Well, there you got you bookended it. Very clever, Mike. Very well done.
You're welcome.
All right, so my last pick, I'm going to do an emergency substitution, Mike,
Oh,
because I had some like honorable mentions, and I'm going to kind of pull off the bench and substitute here at the end. My original fifth pick was Godfather 3, and I struggled with it.
oh,
Uh, and I'm going to say something controversial, so don't at me, but this is just my
uh-oh.
take on it. I don't think Godfather 3 is that bad. And I don't think
Yes.
Godfather 2 is that good. And it's a controversial opinion, but I don't care. But so middle of the night, I was thinking about,
Wow.
does Godfather 3 has got to the point where it just got to be hip to not like it.
Yeah.
But if you sit down and watch that movie, it's very well done. I'm sorry. There's a story. It's okay. Sophia Coppola is not great, but big
I still have
deal.
to say that. Andy Garcia is fantastic.
But Andy Garcia saves that movie.
Yeah.
Pacino is just
Zaza.
Pacino at this point. Yeah, Joey Zaza. But I mean, he's so good in that movie. And I'm sorry. So I'm going to change my pick last minute,
Hmm.
and I'm going to substitute in the significantly more crappy and more deserving of this list. I'm going to go with Alien Resurrection from 1997. Mike, this is
Oh,
over the
nice.
Thanksgiving holiday. This was released. It was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who did other movies, weird French movies like Amelie and Delicatessen. So you thought, okay, this might be cool, right? But wow, you talk about no joy. This is the one where
We mentioned this before in
this
Aliens, I think, because it's like
yeah,
it starts off right at the end of that movie. It's like, oh wow, our heroes
yeah,
escaped.
yeah.
No.
So and this one, Sigourney Weaver admits that I would have never done this except for the dump truck of money they took to backed up to my house. Uh, Ripley comes back from the dead 40 years later. Let's do some sort of genetic mashup where she's half alien, half human. You're right. It's incredibly dark. Every character in here is unlikable. Mike, you think a movie with
Uh-oh.
Ron Perlman and Brad Dourif would be a joyride, but it stinks. It's Joss Whedon wrote it, Mike. So that doesn't
Oh.
help anything either there.
Was there,
But
was there a
it's
lot of
kind of a
was there a lot of snappy dialogue between Dorff and
no. There's nothing joyful in this movie
Perlman?
whatsoever, and it's fine. But it suffers from the copy of a copy of a copy syndrome. They just took all the mores and tenets of the previous movies and just kind of repackaged them in this horrible, joyless, awful, violent, disgusting, vile film.
So this was this was the fourth one, right?
This was the fourth one. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So we talk. You get into the
Yeah, get
When you
confused
see the
by this
Roman
point.
numeral V in your title, you know it's going to be bad. But yeah, I thought this is much more deserving of Godfather, so I'm doing a last minute
Yeah,
substitution, and I did not like Alien Resurrection, nor any other really any Alien movie since. So
agreed.
so there you go. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my final list, Mike.
I don't. Okay, another aside, another tangent. I don't understand why Godfather. I know it's a critic-driven thing, but I don't understand why Godfather 2 is considered better than Godfather 1. They're both fantastic. I mean, you're talking about
Oh
movies,
yeah,
talk about nitpicking of nitpicking, but Godfather 1 is, to
yeah,
me, was just as good, if not better, just because of the
right,
presence of Brando and just the James Caan, and just having the. It felt like a beginning and an end movie where I feel like 2 literally picks up. There was no origin story
yeah,
needed. It was like, okay, well, Michael's in charge
no,
now. And I don't know. I kind of like the beginning, and what gets me about 1 is you see the total progression of Al Pacino's character as Michael
yeah,
Corleone from wide-eyed, innocent, military veteran to head of the mafia. It's like you see that all within 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's crazy good, and I don't know.
yeah,
To me, it's two is confusing. There's some things in there. I don't know why he turns on Hyman Roth. I don't know why the Tartaglia family turns on Michael back in New York, and I
yeah,
don't know why Danny Aiello says greetings from Michael Corleone. There's certain things that are
uh,
confusing in that movie if you actually watch it.
yeah. Well, I'm not trying to convey that Godfather 2 is not a good movie.
No,
When I said that,
no, they're both good. I'm just
it's a genius movie.
yeah,
But I think it's an issue of like confirmation bias. I think
yeah,
the people who appear smart say that Godfather 2 is awesome or great, and people and once some pretentious art school kids said it, it just kind of went from
yeah.
there, and
I think
it's
that's
just hip
it.
to say Godfather 2 is genius
Yeah,
because it makes you it gets you in the room where it happened. It gets you
right.
to be part of the club.
And like you say, 3 has to be hated just because it was unnecessary and from some
Same
people's
thing.
mind.
Same thing. Yeah.
But it has, it is a very well done movie, and the visit,
Yeah.
to see Sicily and everything kind of ended
Yeah.
where
Cat,
Don Corleone started. That's kind of cool
yeah,
the way it
it
kind of bookended it.
bookmarks everything.
Yeah,
It's a natural progression of the story. It was nominated for Best Picture. I mean, people forget all this crap when they're ragging on it.
right.
So there you go.
Whew, enough.
So wow, Mike, we that was bloody. Those turkeys did not make it.
No.
uh, before we leave, so we just want we want to do a special holiday episode to kind of showcase some of our tastes in movies. If you hadn't figured that out already, so just to cleanse the palate, Mike. So what's a movie that you watched during the holidays traditionally? That's not a holiday movie.
Mm.
You
Well,
have any other movies that you watched this time of year that you just make you feel good?
yeah, I tipped my
Just to
hand earlier.
cleanse the palate a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be Lord of the Rings trilogy. I watched that
Yeah.
pretty much every year this time of year because that's when these movies came out, and
Yep.
kind of like what this whole show has been about. It was one of those movies or trilogies that had the feel good factor already baked in as far as being released at this
Yep.
time, and I got to say that with the Harry Potter movies, although I don't watch them as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I had that same thing. Those were also movies where it's kind of like watching the Ten Commandments at Easter.
At
It's
Easter.
one of this.
Yeah.
It's like, you almost have to watch the Harry Potter movies and the Lord of the Rings movies, at least for me at this time of year, because it's when they came out. And
Yeah.
let's be honest, the Harry Potter movies almost feel like Christmas movies with all the snow and the
Yeah. They are.
tingly
Yeah.
music and stuff. So those
Yeah.
will be ones that have a lot of meat on those bones. But you can spend a few days
Yeah.
watching those movies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was going to be my pick too. I mean, again, these were event movies when they came out, and I remember just clearing my schedule, and I think
Yeah.
we saw most of these together, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
I think
remember
we
when
ended up seeing
Return
those
of the King came out. We ended up seeing all 3 at the same time, and that was
same time,
fantastic.
consecutive films. Yeah, what a great
Right.
day that was, man. It's
And
awesome.
it's a great way to spend a December when you should be Christmas shopping instead.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm with you too. So yeah, I'll throw in for me. Lord of the Rings takes precedent, of course. I throw in the Hobbit movies just because they're the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing, sort of. But I also watched the Star Wars movies, all those
Oh, that's a
trilogies
good
over
one.
the
Yeah.
holidays. it just makes you feel good. This is the nostalgia part of the Grumpy. We did the Grumpy already. This is the nostalgia part, but it's just nice to have those movies.
We like stuff.
Memory.
There's movies
we like stuff too. There's movies we like. Sure.
My wife and my daughter always watch Die Hard every Christmas because that's like their favorite, one of their favorite Christmas movies, and that's pretty cool. It's not for me, but it's their tradition.
Yeah.
They like it.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, well, we have to go. I have to go buy Mike that football for Christmas. We got presents to wrap. So we want to thank everybody for all their support over the year, and we hope that you and yours have a wonderful holiday season. And we're going to get back on the regular train here. We just wanted to break format a little bit and have a special show that celebrates our take on the holiday. So, Mike, that's going to wrap it up. Anything else before we leave?
Drink your Ovaltine.
All right, Mike, that's good advice. All right, so for Mike James, this is Justin, and we will see you again next time. And Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Thank you. Bye-bye.